Hi there, Sandy Freshie here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. This is for you if you are a human design projector who is under 30 or maybe under 40. And it is kind of a remake to one of my very old videos about human design projector professions. So from my own projector, 56-year-old projector, 3-5 what not to do perspective, I really wanted to come on and update or fill in or perhaps just give you that perspective of what I would do or what I would have done if I had known about human design in my 20s and in my 30s. I came to human design in my mid-40s, and when I was in my 20s, human design, Ra-Uru-Hu was just getting that transmission of human design and had not even really started to teach it yet. So there's a lot that has happened on the planet, and I know from working with a lot of you, you've come in, you were born into an energy and a consciousness that was very different from those of us who were born earlier and who had to kind of pick up this understanding of ourselves through the human design blueprint later in life. If I were your age and I were asking the question of what do I do for a profession, or what do I do with my life, how do I create a career or an income producing way of being in the world, because that is so crucial to you as you get into your Saturn return around the age of 27, 28 to 32. These kinds of questions are really developmentally crucial for you. How do you establish yourself as a human being who can support yourself, can have a foundation where you live in the human mundane world in a successful way? So you probably already know, if you've been doing any investigation around what it means to be a projector, you are already tuned into this idea and probably resonate with the idea or the understanding that you are here to be a guide, an advisor, and to manage, guide, and direct other people. That usually resonates with most projectors. 99% of projectors hear that and they go, oh yes, that's me. That's what I'm about. And you're probably no different. So in the 3D world, in the world where you must translate what you're about into what you do for a living or for money, that often translates into careers like psychotherapy, counseling, coaching. There are many great coaches on the planet, life coaches, spiritual coaches, who are projectors. It can translate into guiding people depending on your design, depending on what your strengths are, what your defined channels are, what defined centers you have, your profile, all of that. All projectors are different. It could translate into guiding people through sales. I know one projector who is really great at that. I know actually a couple of projectors who are really great at that, and that's in their chart. So whatever your mode of guidance is, whatever resonates with you, you're going to feel that within your heart, within the real knowing about who you are, and you're going to see that sort of blossom and bloom through the experiences that you desire. So if I were a younger projector, or if I had come to human design when I was younger, in my 20s and 30s, I would have made my primary investment in terms of career, in terms of cultivating my profession. I would have made my primary investment in my education. Now, reflecting upon that, I have a little caveat to that may or may not be useful to you, but I'll share it anyway. I would not have invested in my education until I was feeling correct or aligned with myself. So when I was, 22 or so, I was living that path that I kind of innately knew was me, to be someone who was a director, someone who was in charge. I became an officer in the United States Navy. I was commissioned as an officer in the United States Navy. I was put in positions where I didn't actually have to do the work. I had to guide the work and lead the work. But the one missing piece for me is I didn't know how to do myself. I didn't know how to manage myself. Therefore, I wasn't ever really comfortable in guiding and managing other people from that perspective. And yes, and that was a very not self perspective for me, knowing at my core level, knowing in my deepest heart and soul that I was here to guide and be a leader, to advise other people. I really didn't understand, though, that I was the one that needed to, first of all, be the leader of my life, know how to manage myself, and from there be the guide for others. And I had no template like we have with Human Design here of how to do that correctly, how to be me, be in alignment with me and my blueprint, my template, in order to do that well. So, the best I could do was where I was, and I can see how I short-circuited myself along the way with my education, with what I really felt was best for me because of my own conditioning. When I was 20, I don't know, I guess I was newly commissioned as an officer. I really had this desire to get my master's degree in counseling, but I got so burned out at it, and I had so many other mishaps, as someone with a 3 in their profile sometimes has in my life, that I just dropped out midway through, and I never ever went back. Now, had I gone back at that time, it might have opened doors for me. It might have put me in front of the right people with the right people, but I was operating from a state of misalignment, and that might not have happened even then. So I guess the moral of the story is to invest in yourself first. Invest in the education and the interests that you have, but invest in those things that will, from a place of your alignment and your correctness of living through your design. That, and regardless of what it is that you learn, that you study, that you grow from, that you put your time and your attention and your resources into, when you come at it, or when you come into it from this place of your own alignment, of knowing who you are and living from your truth, you will naturally move into those arenas and those places where the people that you're here to meet and you're here to guide will be there and be receptive to you. So there's one more piece to that, and it has to do with the resource piece, because there's another video that a lot of you find around projectors and financial survival. And that piece has to do with in how you invest in yourself. And one of the other things that I would have done if I had known that I was a projector and I really didn't have this unlimited capacity to work, which I really felt that I did in my 20s, is that I would have had a better cushion. I would have made my financial cushion my priority. And that meant that I would have probably chosen my primary relationships better. I would have chosen my primary partnership, my primary life partner better. I would have I would have had this understanding that I wouldn't be able to work and work and work and work, and I would have known that that was not correct for me. So I would have made provisions otherwise to make sure, or as much as you can, your life, what you're here to learn and what you're here to experience may not be congruent with the best plans that are the best practices of financial stability. So you're going to have to feel this out for yourself. But I would have had that primary intention that I come first, I matter first in my life, my own well-being all the way around, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, would have been my first priority, rather than being in that not self state, so to speak, in human design speak, of being out there absorbing everybody else's stuff, being into everybody else's business, trying to heal them, focusing upon other people's well-being before my own. And that's one thing that I really want to encourage you to do. It's actually something that I see a lot of you doing. You know, those of you who are in your 20s and your 30s, you already get this. You know, you know that on a very fundamental level, you come first. And that's why a lot of times when you're in these places that don't really acknowledge you or recognize you as being that powerful primary player in your life, you know, where maybe you get overlooked or you get, you know, maybe your family doesn't understand why you're waiting, you get really hurt by that because you know deep inside that that's correct for you, that you need to be doing that you need to be giving yourself some kind of space and leeway to sort of recalibrate, realign if you're feeling like you're misaligned with your design, and that may mean sometimes that you're not doing that 9-to-5 job, or that may mean that sometimes you don't look busy to other people because you're not here to be busy. So I just want to encourage you to stay true to yourself, stay true to what is really calling to your heart, to be wise about how you manage your resources, and to put your education and your deepening of your interests first, and to enter into those things, especially if they require an investment of resources, to enter into those things from a place of alignment with your design. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. Happy New Year.